the meaning could be just that you just enjoy making what you are making. And sometimes it's hard to find a meaning behind what you are making. Should your pottery have a meaning behind it? What is up, Shaping Nation? This is Nick Torres here. And in this episode of Shaping Your Pottery, I'm going to be talking about whether you should have a meaning behind your pottery or not. For those that don't know me, it is my mission to help you discover your own unique voice with your pottery, and I do that through this podcast. So very recently, I was coming up with some question for somebody I was going to interview very soon. And when I was on her website doing some research, one of the things that she was talking about in her artist statement was that she felt like she would never have a meaning behind her own pottery, her own work. And it took her a long time to actually find that meaning, to have meaning for her own work. And this kind of sparked a little bit of a question for me. So, should you have meaning behind your own pottery? And this kind of boiled in with me a little bit. And I decided to post this question onto my Instagram. And I got a decent amount of feedback on it. So I thought I would make an extended version of this. So here is my 2 cents on whether or not you should have meaning behind your pottery. So the short and simple answer is yes and no. So I believe that not everything really needs to have a meaning to what you are making. You could be making just to make, right? The meaning could be just that you just enjoy making what you are making. And sometimes it's hard to find a meaning behind what you are making, especially if you're doing it every single day. And for a business, it could be hard to have a meaning behind everything you are making. But there are times when we do get inspiration from our own pottery, from what we are making, and then meaning becomes what we are, what what our inspiration takes us to. You could be what you normally make, like flower mugs or whatever, and then all of a sudden you get inspiration to add some mousse, and maybe that inspiration tells a story and it has a meaning. It has something to do with your life, and it ends up having a meaning. But you don't always have to have a specific meaning for your pottery. The meaning could just be the function of the pottery. And if we get too caught up in if our pottery should have a meaning or not, then it's going to take away from a lot of things. We're going to just be too focused on whether, oh, our pottery doesn't have a meaning, so this isn't going to look as good. And then two, we're not going to be making the pottery that we truly want to make because we're too focused on trying to find a meaning behind everything. The pottery that we're making doesn't always have to have a meaning. It could, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to. If inspiration comes at like a random time, put meaning behind what you are trying to make because that inspiration took hold. But until that inspiration takes hold, then you really don't need a meaning. The meaning is just making the pottery that you like to make. So here is something from the post that I posted on Instagram from Chai Ali Harder. I hope I said that right. But she basically says this. So, as a psychologist slash ceramicist, I feel that sometimes the meaning and source of inspiration does not always precede the execution of the idea. Sometimes it reveals itself as you go, or becomes clear only in retrospect. It's like a dialogue between the clay and myself. And there can be a totally different dialogue between the piece and different audience members. That's the magic of it. And I really like the way she said this. I thought it was very, very interesting because it's very true. We may not have a specific meaning for the pottery that we're creating, but somebody else looking at the pottery could have a different meaning for what they are seeing. They could have a meaning because that's the beauty of making pottery, is that sometimes when we're making, meaning starts to broil up as we are making. And sometimes you don't have any meaning at all, and it's somebody else giving meaning to that pot. Maybe you're bringing joy to somebody. Maybe the meaning is that they are taking that cup of the mug and they're using it to make their coffee every single morning because that's their favorite mug. That's their meaning behind it. Meaning can come from anywhere, but it also doesn't have to have a meaning. I hope you guys enjoy this episode, and I'll see you guys in the next one.